Fireside chat. The theme of today will be Tech for Good, and today we have 4 panelists here with us today. So I'll first begin by introducing all the 4 panelists. Our first guest would be Ms. Serene Chai. She's the head of partnerships and projects and co-founder of SpeedUp. She was a former head of marketing and communications, and she also organized a mentorship program, Young Women's Leadership Connection, in order to provide guidance and support to young women, enabling them to harness their full potential. Our second guest is Ms. Lindsay Davis, who is the founder of Femtech Association Asia. She was also recognized on the Singapore 100 Women in Tech list, the Women of Wearables, 200 Trailblazing Leaders in Women's Health and Femtech, and the Health Tech World, Incredible Women in Health Tech, the long list. Thirdly, we have Ms. Hwee Chua, who is a senior data scientist at Data IQ. She was accepted into the Data Science for Social Good Fellowship, and she was also the recipient of the KDD Impact Program Award. Lastly, we have Ms. Hwee Shan, who co-founded and leads a coding school, Loshberry. She teaches as an adjunct lecturer at the School of Computing in SP, and she was also named one of the Singapore 100 Women in Tech in 2020. So the flow of the Fireside chat will be as follows. We'll be having 40 minutes of questions for the panel, followed by a Q&A session for 20 minutes, and we'll end off with a group photo. So this is the QR code for the pigeonhole where you can put in your questions. So I'll pause at the slide for a minute for everyone to scan the QR code. The password for the pigeonhole is WB2C2. So anytime during the panel, feel free to put in your questions into the pigeonhole link below. Okay, so let's begin. Firstly, we'll be starting with an informal question, which would be for all the panelists to just say a bit more about themselves as well as what they do. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. Let's start with perhaps Ms. Serene Chai, if you may.
Okay, hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for spending your evening with us. I'm not quite sure if you guys have had dinner yet, but if you haven't, we'll try to end on time so that you guys can go and have your dinner. My name is Serene. I'm the co-founder of SpeedDoc. SpeedDoc is a digital health startup, and our flagship product is virtual hospital services. And what that means is we try to do hospital-level care at home. As part of our services, we also do telemedicine, remote monitoring, medication delivery, ambulance bookings, and other things that you would kind of expect a digital health startup to do. So happy to answer any questions that you guys have here today, and happy to pass on to my panelists.
Okay, next, could we have Ms. Lindsay Davis introduce yourself and what you do?
Of course. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. First of all, so honored to be on this panel with all of these talented individuals, and thank you so much for hosting us. My name is Lindsay Davis. As it said on my slide, I'm the founder of the Femtech Association Asia, which is a professional network for founders, investors, professionals, enthusiasts, corporates, anyone who's really passionate about improving women's health and healthcare through technology solutions. We are currently representing businesses across 9 countries in Asia and have over 75 businesses in the femtech space. So again, specifically focused on women's health and technology. So again, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Next, could we move on to Ms. Hwee Shan?
Hi everyone, very happy to be here, and I'm not sure if I'm the only NUS alumni here, but I'm really happy to be speaking to my juniors right here. I'm Hwee Shan. I lead a coding school, Loshberry. So Loshberry has 2 arms of businesses. Loshberry Code Studio runs coding classes for kids from 7 to 12 years old, and then Loshberry Computing runs more academic focused computing classes for older students. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically what I do. I basically teach and I code as well on the side, sometimes for leisure. Yeah.
Thank you. And could we have our last panelist, Ms. Hwee Chua, introduce yourself as well?
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm a senior data scientist at Dataiku, which is a AI and machine learning company, where we offer our customers our tool called Dataiku, which allows users to perform any data science projects end to end. Yeah. And in my current role, I mainly train and coach users to use our tool better to help them perform their work easier, faster, more efficiently, and also through empowering them with machine learning knowledge. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So to begin, we'll start off with a general question. So the theme of the Fireside chat today is tech for good. So could each of the speakers say, what does tech for good personally mean to you? And why do you think it is such an important topic in today's rapidly advancing technological landscape? So if anyone wants to jump in first, if not, I can arrow someone to start.
Sure, I'm happy to jump in to start the conversation. So I think from my side, focusing on the femtech industry, I think a lot about tech for good being around integrating the consideration of a positive impact. So not just obviously the commercial side, but the positive impact, whether it's DE&I, ESG, whatever you want to think about it, but making sure that that's integrated. Secondly, when I think of tech for good, I think about adaptability. So how are the solutions that we're creating, the work we're doing, how can that continue to shift away from a one-size-fits-all model and into kind of more personalized tech? I think prioritizing innovation, again, I get really excited about how many creative ideas I see from entrepreneurs, and that's my good fortune getting to work where I work. So I think a lot of tech for good is around really prioritizing innovation and creativity. And then finally, a lot of what I do is community building. So tech for good to me, a lot of it is about connecting both expected and unexpected stakeholders in our ecosystem to really kind of generate new ideas, activities, knowledge, platforms, systems, et cetera, and really kind of help, lift each other up to create more impact for more people, and making sure that technology really is accessible, available, and affordable, no matter what it is. So I'll hand it back to you, Karen.
Thank you so much. That was a great response. Does anyone else want to jump in now?
Yeah.
I think Lindsay, oh, sorry.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Lindsay pretty much sums it up. Yes, I also wanted to say, to me, it's really a lot on making sure technology is accessible by anyone, regardless of abilities, regardless of background, regardless of tech savviness, making sure that the technology can advance humankind in general, not leaving anyone behind.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say a combination of what both my co-panelists were talking about. I think they both mentioned the word impact. And when I think about tech for good, I think, first of all, we need to look at the positive impact that we're making on society, and then we need to look at the value that we're adding to the community. And finally, ensuring that what we build today is building a foundation for the impact that, the people after us will have on society. So I think that's what it means to me.
Yep. Maybe just a few more words from me also. From my point of view, it's about using tech to be able to improve people's lives and also to eliminate any inefficiencies that we face, like any gaps in the economy or in the society. Like we are able to use tech to address these issues that previously might not be so possible without tech. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we'll be moving on to more personalized questions for each of the panelists now. So perhaps we could start with you, Ms. Hwee. So we know that you did a data science for social good fellowship. So do you mind sharing more about that and how it influenced your approach to using data for societal impact?
Yeah, sure. So that was in 2017, before COVID, and they actually ran the fellowship for quite a number of years. So this fellowship was founded by Ghani, who is the chief data officer behind the Obama 2012 campaign. And yeah, so the intention of the fellowship was really to train up students who are passionate about using tech to improve the society, or like see how they can make a positive impact in the different areas of work, through using data science and also using different kinds of tool stack. So at that point in time, I was trying to also learn more about how we can be able to implement such a solution in, say, like in our area of work. Like previously I was in the public sector still. So I decided to apply for the fellowship, and there was basically the structured training that was offered in during the fellowship itself, where we learn about project management and also how to scope a project better, to be able to deliver a solution that really is able to address the issues. So it is not something like an academic exercise, but it's something that is practical. There are constraints that we need to consider in terms of implementation and in terms of the data quality kind of things. So it is very real. And from there is also different stakeholders that we have to work with. So specifically for my team, we work with the Ministry of the Netherlands in charge of transportation on optimizing their inspector route patrol on the highways. So we have incident locations and also timing the incidents that happens on the highway, and their current inspector schedule where they are patrolling. So with like the current schedule that they have, they wanted to see if we can use like data science or any algorithms to help improve their response time. So to make sure like at least a certain percentage of incidents get responded within 3 minutes. So you need to adjust where they patrol, the locations, the route where they patrol, to ensure like if an accident happen, they can quickly reach the incident point. So this can be done using data and also doing research, coming up with the algorithms, different kinds of models, to do the training, and then to do the testing as well, to see whether based on what is recommended by the data is able to achieve the actual outcome that they want. So from there were also other teams in charge of other projects as well, such as like trying to reduce unemployment in Portugal, try to be able to match skills to jobs, this kind of data science problems, and also to combat like illegal wildlife fishing kind of stuff. So there's like diverse variety of projects that the fellows were exposed to, and then like to also be able to learn how we can make use of data science. And also there was training on how to actually be able to maintain such data science projects for the organizations to be able to continue like to use the solution that we have developed. So it needs to be user friendly. So from there, that was when I see the potential of using data and tech for good. And then from then on, I also try to see if we can do something similar in Singapore.
Thank you so much. That was a very detailed and great answer about your experience. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to having an experience like that in the future. So perhaps we could go to another panelist. So Ms. Hwee, so you run a coding school. So what do you foresee as the future of tech education? And how do you think it will be evolving in the coming years, as it's an up-and-coming sector currently?
Well, I think what's on everyone's mind is definitely generative AI. Of course, the most famous example right now is ChatGPT, right? It's changing everyone's lives in every aspect. So I think it's definitely here to stay, generative AI. And in terms of tech education, the impact that it's going to have, and I believe, you guys as students, ChatGPT has been influencing the way you learn, right now. And it will definitely help to speed up learning for everybody. Okay, and but I still feel like so a lot of people are saying, hey, now with ChatGPT or with generative AI, what's the role of teachers, right? Do we even need teachers now, right? Do we even need our professors in the universities to teach us? I think it's definitely still needed, right? Because teachers are still needed to help to curate content, right? That's something that generative AI can't help to do. You know, how to pick up, to diagnose, you know, what students really need at this point in time, to also create structure to the learning, right? So this kind of structured learning, it's not something currently that generative AI can do. I'm not sure about the future, but as of the current state right now, teachers are still needed, right, to help to structure the entire curriculum, the learning, you know, to help to design the curriculum. So I think in the future, to be in tech education, on top of obviously knowing your stuff, okay, or you're having tech skills, you also need to have even stronger teaching or curriculum design skills as well, in order to to coexist together with generative AI to improve the entire tech education scene, to improve how people are learning in general, not just tech actually, but pretty much for every subject. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Next, could we have Ms. Lindsay Davis? So, in your opinion, what are the most significant challenges as well as opportunities in the femtech industry today, and especially maybe in the Asia Pacific region, if you could elaborate more on that?
Sure. I think there are, of course, like all industries, there are challenges, especially where we are a nascent industry, though obviously, women and those with women's healthcare needs inclusively have been around since the beginning of time as a customer. But when we talk about some of the challenges, I think the first thing is really around the scarcity of data. And that goes all the way back, kind of linked directly with investment. So if we see where money is being placed, it might not necessarily be on women's health needs in particular. I think we've seen that historically women have not been included in clinical trials between around the 70s up until 1993 with the NIH Revitalization Act. So I think data is a really big point, and something that we do have a scarcity of right now. Moreover, a lot of the data we do have is kind of more US focused. And so really a big objective for us is to encourage the community here, our ecosystem here, to really invest in the dollars for our markets on this side of the world. Secondly, I would probably touch on education and awareness. And by that, I mean whether at a school with our young students, and are they having, are they getting exposed to all of the different, layers of very complex healthcare, and again, inclusively for both, men, women, and anyone else who identifies. So I think it's important to have that education. And then as we age, the awareness that goes with that. So what technology solutions are available for different needs as we age, but moreover, what do we need to be aware of as we age to look out for? So I think there are some layers with challenges in femtech in particular about that education and awareness piece. And then finally, I mean, there's a lot more to touch on, but I love to talk about the good parts and how we're going to overcome through amazing opportunities ahead. But the last piece I would really talk about is, again, going back to my first point around scarcity of data directly being linked to investment, is really looking for right now in Asia in particular, Southeast Asia I'm going to speak about. We really do look at kind of early adopter, long-term investors. So it's those who are committed to kind of the impact of femtech and the impact on women's health through the solutions we're creating. And obviously, when we see some of the, we've seen some stats like Deal Street Asia shared this year that 76% of investor institutions or VCs do not have a woman decision maker. So we can see some of those challenges as far as representation and maybe even understanding what issues are as an investor in our markets. Those are just a few to talk about, but obviously I'll hand it back to you to make sure everyone gets time to talk.
Thank you so much for your response. So our last panelist, Ms. Serene. So what would you say is the most influential experience that inspired you to found SpeedOc?
The most influential experience that inspired me to found
Or
Speak
any
Up.
like motivations, like any challenges that you foresee which made you want to found the company?
Oh, we could go on all night if you ask me about my challenges. But yeah, I think I'll answer the first question first. A turning point in my life, which actually was probably the seed of kind of everything that just started. So as I was a young starving student in university, I used to teach English tuition to kids to kind of earn a little bit more money so that I could travel at the end of after I graduated, right? And I was just teaching this 12-year-old boy, and he didn't understand the meaning of a word. And so I said, okay, can you go and get a dictionary? And he just looked at me and he was like, what's a dictionary? And I said, well, what do you mean what's a dictionary? And so I looked around his house, I found a dictionary, and I gave it to him and I was like, okay, look up the word. And he was like, how do you use this book? Right. And he didn't even know that the dictionary was in alphabetical order. I don't even think he knew what alphabetical order was, right? He just looked at me blankly and he was like, why don't you just Google the word? You don't even need to know the alphabetical order. Right. And I think that was when I kind of, I felt a little bit offended. But after that whole session, on my way home, I was just thinking to myself, oh, we've been hearing so much about disruption, and this is what disruption looks like, right? This is the next generation. I think that was a few years before we started SpeakDoc. But every time, people ask me, oh, are you disrupting healthcare? Are you looking at, what are you changing and what value are you adding? I always think back to this moment. And, I think as founders and entrepreneurs, you not only have to look at the good that you're adding into the world, but also what you're taking away from the world and how it feels to people who are used to the previous way of working. And I think that was very instrumental in us having a very human-centered design. Yeah, back to you guys.
Thank you so much. Maybe going back to you for one more question. So having expanded SpeakDoc globally, have you noticed any differences in the technological landscapes, perhaps in Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka? Are there any specific differences you have noticed?
I mean, first of all, regionally, thank you for the compliment, but not globally, regionally. Have I noticed any technological differences? I mean, definitely. We expanded before COVID, and I mean, definitely you can kind of see the differences in technology nowadays. Before COVID, I think people were very wary of phone apps, and they were saying things like oh, I'm not going to put my credit card online because people are going to steal my identity. And then now people are like, oh, they don't have single sign-on. I think their cybersecurity literacy is not good enough. So the digital literacy, I think, in the general population has definitely gone up across the population. But then again, you must understand that the scams and the way data breaches happen now is a lot more sophisticated than what it used to be as well. And so I think this is generally the difference. Also, I think before COVID, what we were looking at were kind of software and technology that we were very used to. Even telemedicine, which kind of came to a really peak during COVID, actually just touches upon existing technology. Video chats have been around since for a long time. But now we're looking at the advent of technology that we haven't seen before. I think someone just now brought up ChatGPT. We're looking at generative AI. We're looking at regulations that are looking to regulate things we've never seen before. And so I think the next 2 to 3 years are going to be very exciting for the world, not just for particular industries, but I think the world in general and how we interact with each other is going to be very interesting in the next 2 to 3 years.
Thank you so much for your response. Perhaps you could go back to Ms. Hwee. So you were an alumni of NUS Computing, which is a lot of us here are also from NUS Computing. So do you personally have any piece of message or advice that you'd like to leave for the audience, especially those interested in pursuing a career in computing or coding?
Definitely. I always dish out advice to my students. So I just want to say that whether or not you're a straight A student currently, what you're currently learning in school is really just the tip of the iceberg. I think this just doesn't just apply to computing, it applies to pretty much all faculties, but I think especially for computing, for tech. Why? Because technologies are really changing very, very rapidly, right? And in a matter of months, things change, and whatever that you're learning right now in school, probably will not be relevant in a matter of a few years' time, 1 or 2 years' time even, right? You have to keep constantly upgrading yourself. Yeah, so that's definitely something that I want all of you to really bear in mind, that your learning never stops, not even after university, right? And second of all, don't just focus all your time on academics, okay? University is the time of your life to really enjoy everything, not just your studies, but make friends with other faculty, friends from other faculties as well. Participate in any school activities that you like, that you think you're gonna enjoy. Try out new things. Go have fun, right? Personally, I was a member of Raffles, so I'm not sure if any one of you here are. Okay, and I really enjoyed my time in hall, and it allowed me to really explore a lot of things that I would otherwise not have explored. And the point of making friends with other people from other faculty, it actually does help beyond just making friends in university. I actually can't believe it that even up till now, right, a decade after graduation or so, I am still actually in contact with a lot of my university mates, be it just for social gatherings or even for business partnerships. Right? A lot of my current ex-business partners, they are actually my ex-schoolmates as well. Yeah, so you never know what kind of network that you're gonna benefit from, right, when you actually make friends with people outside your faculty as well. Yeah, and most importantly, have fun, right, and just keep learning.
Thank you so much. I'm sure all of us learned something from them. We're all going to take this advice to heart. So could we go back to Miss Lindsay Davis? So congratulations on being awarded the Most Inspirational Femtech CEO in 2023 under the APAC Insider CEO of the Year Awards. So what would you say are some factors that led to the success, and what advice would you give for anyone who's looking to pursue a successful career in the femtech industry?
Sure. Thank you for that question. I think, the first thing is strength of community. And this is really building on, I think, maybe on what Shan was talking about a second ago. It's that school is as much about the education as it is about the network and the community we build. And I think even looking beyond that into, the internships we take, the volunteer opportunities we have, really being open to saying yes whilst we have, the time and sometimes less responsibility. I understand sometimes people have more. But I think it's really being a part of various communities. And again, this goes back to the initial point I made around tech for good, meaning innovation. And innovation usually comes from creativity. And how to become more creative? That's by meeting more people, experiencing more, getting out there and really learning more and being open to the world around us. So I think as far as two things, I would say words of advice to anyone who wanted to move into the femtech space. First of all, I would say meet with as many founders in the community as you can to really understand what opportunities are out there, what their biggest challenges are, how they've overcome these challenges, what changes are there in the different geographies around us. It's a quick moving space with a lot of opportunity as far as, there's still a ton of opportunity for different categories to be explored, whether it's, menopause, chronic illness. These are all opportunities. The second thing I would say, along with talking to founders, is talk with investors. So the one other thing that a lot of founders say to me is, I think it's important right from the get-go in femtech to make sure that we are in touch with the investors, even if it's not to ask for money, but really understand the funding strategy that we have and what is the exit strategy, thereafter. So it's really making sure we understand what investors are looking for and how to really define that problem and not be product-led, rather problem-led. And I think SpeedDoc, and Serene, maybe I could hand to you next, but I think SpeedDoc has done a wonderful job of not only being a part of the founder community, with femtech, broader health tech, digital health, the medical community, academic community, but also really being in touch with a lot of different investors and really truly understanding not only the investment strategy or funding strategy they have, but also it's their choice who they want to work with based on the support that they want, the advisors they want. So I think it's really looking at entrepreneurship in femtech as not just, here's my problem, here's the solution, I'm going to go build it, but who are all the different players that can influence the businesses we're building.
Thank you so much for that response. So I think we have time for one more question for Ms. Chua. So bringing data science into a high school's curriculum is a very commendable achievement. So could you tell us more about this initiative and what motivated you, as well as some of the outcomes you've observed?
Yeah, so previously when I was studying and then when I step out into the workforce, I thought like this is a skill that everyone should have, like being able to use data to make informed decisions, and then also being able to speak the same language. So this is more something personal to me, like coming from a very technical background. When I talk to people from other departments, like even though say we have gone through the same education system for maybe for 10 years, like the differentiator seems to be the university education, where maybe since I come from a stats background, I learned a lot more technical skill sets that is specific to working with data, and also like performing data analysis. So when I step into the workforce, then I realized, oh, there's this disjoint, like when it comes to communication, when I go through the analysis that I have done with my bosses, or with colleagues from other departments, I realized, oh, people don't understand I'm talking about. And then like they say, can you speak English? Like when you're all speaking English. So that's when I feel like it will be good if everyone can go through the same kind of curriculum much earlier, and they get associated with working with data, working with different kinds of tools, and being able to see the applications of using math. Okay, like since a lot of it's actually math, to solve problems that are in the real world, So this is why it kind of motivates me to reach out back to my alma mater. So I actually approached my junior college teacher, like math teacher, to explore this idea, and I think at that point, like junior college is a very tight 2-year education where it doesn't allow a lot of this kind of exploration. So he directed me to the high school, which is the High School of Hwa Chong Institution. So that was where I was given the opportunity to build in like a sabbatical week for them to do training purely on data science. And then there was also where I got them to work on solutions, try to address issues that non-profits face, or like to basically encourage them to look into open source government data sets, to try to see if there is other ways where they can help improve certain gaps in the Singapore society. Yeah, so there was something that we actually ran a pilot in 2018, and then until now it is still ongoing. Yeah, so I am actually quite happy to see that the school is actually very supportive of this, and that more and more students are being exposed to data science at a much earlier stage in life.
Thank you so much for all of your responses to the questions. So I think now I'll be passing the time on to Satwik to moderate the Q&A session. So I think for that, I can share the screen to show the Pigeonhole QR code one time for a minute.
Thank you. Okay, so we're seeing some responses coming in. I'll begin with the first question that's open to the panel. Are there any skills or knowledge areas that you believe are crucial for individuals to succeed, which are currently being under-addressed? This question is open to all the panelists.
So I guess from the femtech perspective, I've been speaking with a lot of our founders over the past couple months, and there are two skill sets that people say they really wish that were stronger, that they had in-house, or had at all, because obviously many of us are just starting our journeys in entrepreneurship. The first one is product development. So someone who really understands the product inside and out, especially from a technical perspective, not only that technical perspective side, but really that customer experience and the customer journey and how those two things come together. The second thing that a lot of people say is business development. So, hey, we're always looking for salespeople and customer acquisition. So whilst that's not directly tied to technology, I think it's relevant to consider that, we are all a part of a sales team when we enter an organization.
See, thank you. Would any other speaker like to go ahead?
Yes, I think one more definitely I think the skill that everybody should learn, not just for tech, but particularly for tech is especially important, is the skill about learning how to learn. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, your learning never stops even after you graduate from university. So having the skill to really learn how to pick up new things on your own, to identify what you need to learn to do your job, right? Is a skill I think everybody should really learn to pick up in university. So the purpose of university education is honestly not entirely just knowledge per se, right? So yes, you learn your coding, you learn all your computing fundamentals and stuff, but more importantly, it's also about being able to filter out the important things out of all the the mess of information that you're given, and being able to really break things down for yourself to digest everything on your own without somebody helping you to do it. Yeah, so I think by the time you graduate from university, this is something that all of you really should learn how to, so that you can keep up with the rapidly changing technology once you graduate. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer. Ms. Serene, Ms. Chua, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure, I'll go next. And I think my answer might be a little bit obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think my co-panelists have talked a little bit about technical skills, but I'm going to talk a little bit about soft skills, and specifically two of them. So number one is learning how to motivate people, because if you're trying to get something done, whether you're leading a team or you're being a teammate, I think something that's very important is understanding the different things that motivate people. Not everybody is motivated by the same things that you are. And it will do you a lot of good to try and understand that at a young age and develop, this skill of getting everybody together and pushing them in the same direction. The second thing, which I think is particularly lacking in Asian people in general, and I think it's probably born of the culture, is, problem solving. And I think out of everybody, engineers and technology students are probably the best at it. But in general, learning how to break down a problem into bite-sized pieces, the learning, what are the different stakeholders, that can, get you to, one place so that the other moving part can move, so that the other moving part can move. I think this is something that I don't really see in students until they get a little bit older. And sometimes I think it's a little bit too old by the time they learn this skill. So this is a very good skill that you probably could learn at a young age. Yeah, over to Hwee.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, I feel it's a little bit about being more self-aware. Yeah, so maybe not so much of a skill, but something for you to think about, like what you are good at or what you are not good at, what you like and what you do not like. So I think this is something that maybe we don't spend a lot of time thinking, and we just end up, following what other people are doing a lot of times, like, hey, this industry, if you join, you can make a lot of money, kind of stuff, people are chasing money and kind of stuff. I mean, we need to be practical, but also in the meantime, I think we should enjoy what we do. I think, like, if we don't love what we work, it can be very painful while making the money for ourselves. Yeah, so spending a little bit more time to find our interest and passion, and also to grow our skill sets in that area. I guess that is something that will evolve across time as well. Like, maybe you will change across time in terms of interest. So it's always good, to come back and relook at yourself again. Yeah.
Thank you, speakers, for your really refreshing answers. Our next question is again directed to all speakers. Were you already passionate about the current field before launching your company? And what drove you to take the entrepreneurial leap despite the substantial barriers to entry? Do you think that you had any unique support systems unique to yourself that made you that assisted you in taking the leap?
Maybe I can go first, because this is a question that I feel very strongly about. First of all, I think all of us are products of our time. of our times, cultures, and environments. And this is something that I took from the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and all of you should go and read it. But basically what it says is that all of us are a product of unique circumstances and unique situations. And I don't think that, you know, if I were to say that like, oh, I was born in this specific time where the government was changing the legislations, you know, that it would be particularly useful for you. Instead, I would flip this advice around and I would say, look at where you are now. What are the unique circumstances and situations that are around you right now? And when you reach your peak, right? For example, if you think that you want to start a startup 2 years after graduation, or if you think that you want to work for 10 years first and then you want to start a startup, try and figure out what circumstances and situations are at that point in time, and then figure out how your skills and your knowledge fit into that, and then use this time between now and then to kind of build up the foundation and the skill sets that you think you will need at that point in time where you want to start your own venture or your own project or your own, you know, business unit or whatever it is. So I think that's my answer to you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Serene. Would any other speaker like to go next? The question is on were you already passionate about your current field before launching a company? What drove you to take the entrepreneurial leap?
Okay,
So
I think I can go next.
please,
right?
please, Shan, I'll
all right.
go after you. I'll go
Yeah,
right after you.
so so was I already passionate? Definitely. I mean teaching tech education. So even back in NUS, I was getting myself involved in a lot of teaching roles. I managed to get a role as a teaching assistant in NUS computing back then. So that actually ignited my passion for teaching, although I didn't actually directly went into teaching once I graduated. So I decided to explore a few jobs here and there, a few different types of careers, before eventually deciding that, hey, I still want to be in tech education. So when I first started Launchberry, coding schools were unheard of virtually in the time when I actually started. I started it in a time where you know, that not many people think about you know, coding as a kind of an enrichment activity for especially children. Yeah, so and computing just a decade ago wasn't really the hot subject as it is now. Yeah, so not a lot of people actually want to voluntarily take computing as a major university back then. Yeah, so so there was a lot of like kind of like public education that I had to do to enable the people to understand, hey, what's coding about? You know, it's not just staring at the screen. It's also a lot about the way you think as well. So yeah, I had to educate the public quite a bit and educate the parents who's going to sign up for my classes about, you know, what benefits the class is going to bring to the children. You know, and so that took a while, right? But eventually we kind of made it, and yeah, so we've actually been able to work with a lot of other institutions as well. I think that actually kept passion going as well, because it really wasn't just about teaching coding per se. So currently I'm actually working, I have actually been working actually with PSN Tanglin School for a number of years already. So for those who don't know, they are actually a special needs school, which targeted at students with mild intellectual disability. So we are actually conducting coding and robotics classes for the students there. Yeah, so seeing these students, you know, enjoying, laughing their way through our classes, that really actually motivates me to continue further, you know, to dive into, you know, exploring how coding education can be brought to a lot of different other, you know, segments, you know, of the population that may otherwise have been neglected. So yeah.
Thank you for the answer. Ms. Lindsay, would you like to go next?
Sure. So as far as my background, it really pivoted when I moved to Singapore almost 4 years ago. So I have a luxury background and was kind of running a global division of a company, traveling a lot in the luxury space. And when I moved here, I knew I wanted to be more involved in tech, whatever that meant. So, you know, I was looking for you know, something exciting, something that was relevant, something that really I could leverage my skills with a strong background in community building and customer experience and customer journey development. And I came across a book through a recommendation called Invisible Women. And it's about basically, the gender, the gender gap in data and data bias. So I read that book and was inspired to think, there's a bit of a purpose here for me. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. And so I came across women's health and technology, or femtech, just kind of talking with people, again, going out into the ecosystem and chatting with people in the community about what they do. Met a wonderful person who shared that she was in the space. And so I said, well, I want to get involved in the space. But there was really no way to get involved outside of kind of starting a business in femtech. But since I was just dipping my toes at the time, I thought, oh, well, I'll join the community or an association. And since there wasn't one, that was really where the gap came up. And now I think since that time, focusing on thought leadership and programming, amplification, awareness of the industry, building the community, we've now been fortunate to kind of pivot more towards advisory and really helping corporates develop their employee benefit schemes, helping do research. Our most recent project is with the UN SCAP. So actually researching the femtech landscape in Southeast Asia and really trying to look at what is required for acceleration of the industry in our market here. So I think it shows that sometimes, we pivot, not from where we originally started. But I think I like to always say, I come from a place in femtech of kind of purpose, passion, and curiosity. And I really liked what Shan was saying earlier about learning. Always learn more. And I think that's where the curiosity really creates those opportunities, by seeing things other people might not see. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. That was a really good answer. Ms. Chua, the next question is for you. Data IQ has been recognized as a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader. What sets Data IQ apart in the field of data science and machine learning platforms when it is saturated with other platforms such as Google Cloud API and the Amazon SageMaker? And how does your role in the company contribute to this success?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Data IQ is about data democratization. Mainly, our platform is designed in such a way that it allows users who are not familiar with coding, who are new to the data science realm, to be able to pick up the skills necessary to perform a data science project end-to-end on our platform. So it has a point and click interface, where users are able to basically perform data preparation, data cleaning tasks, this kind of stuff that a lot of people who actually are familiar with coding, they can do it easily in Python. But what we want to do is, to lower the barriers of entries to allow everyone to be able to do such a thing. So regardless of whether they can code or not, they are able to perform a data science project and to be able to do machine learning. So this is how we differentiate ourselves from Google Cloud and Amazon SageMaker, because a lot of these platforms are still designed and targeted towards coders. Like it's very code heavy. But that being said, also, like, even though we have a point and click interface, users who are more advanced, who prefers to code, there is also still such a capability within our tool Data IQ to allow them to do the kind of work that requires coding. So one of our selling point is also to allow users from different backgrounds all to collaborate on this single platform. Data engineers, data scientists, data analysts, who are in charge of different kinds of tasks to all work on this single platform. So it allows for rapid deployment as well. Like, given how it's being designed, users are able to do deployment of data science projects easily. So this is also something that is a bottleneck for a lot of users, like a lot of customers who didn't use Data IQ previously. They are stuck at the implementation stage. Like, they could have designed the entire data science project already and performed the necessary machine learning model, created the machine learning model ready to be implemented, but they don't have the infrastructure to do the implementation. So we cover everything end to end, and that is what also our customers like about us.
Thank you, Ms. Chua, for that answer. I think it's quite interesting how the interface of a platform could have such a significantly different target market and that could have such a big impact. We now have a quick question. It's a question to all of the panelists. Do you have any advice for students from non-technical backgrounds who are looking to breaking into tech? Since we are mindful of the time, so just a quick 30-second answer for each of the speakers. Would anyone like to go first?
Maybe I'll go first. I don't have a tech background, and so maybe this makes me uniquely qualified to answer this question, considering my other co-panelists are very technical. I think some basic knowledge is important. Understanding what your colleagues are doing is important, but always surround yourself with smarter people than yourself. And I think being skilled is part of smartness, and so surround yourself with higher skilled people.
I see. Okay. I'd like to go next.
Perhaps I could share that kind of tech is more accessible than ever, as far as, if you wanted to become an entrepreneur, you don't have to be a graphic designer. You can use Canva, you don't have to create your own CRM platform. You can use Airtable. So I think there are resources we can find to start on our tech journey. The other thing is, I think what Hwee Sheng shared before about know your strength. So, being in tech doesn't mean you're only a coder or a developer. Tech is broad scope, and we need all skills in all functions like all other businesses. So I think it's know your skills and then partner yourself in that ecosystem and that community you've built to find where you could be a complementary fit for someone else. So I'd say don't be intimidated by what you don't know. You can always learn it. So don't be intimidated. And I say just kind of think about your strengths.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you, Ms. Serene. Ms. Day, would you like to go next?
Yes. So for me, I think I would have to come from the angle of coding, because since I teach coding. And so, what Lindsay said definitely makes sense. So you don't have to code, right? Even if you want to be in tech, there's so many other different aspects of tech that you can be in. But if you really do want to learn how to code, right? Just start with an introductory course. There's a lot of free courses out there that you can learn. Even go to ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT already offers you some kind of just ask ChatGPT, hey, I want to learn coding, I want to learn Python, right? How do I start? ChatGPT may give you an answer that can help. That's a good starting point. There's a lot of online courses, free online courses. Harvard CS50, so I think it's a very good course to start off with if you just want to have a quick exposure to what coding is about without committing to any paid courses or whatsoever. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Chua, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So there is something that Barack Obama once said that I always remember. So he said don't think it might not be the exact words, but it's something along the line of don't think about who you want to be, think about what problems you want to solve. So I think ultimately you have to think if is breaking into tech something that you want to go into because there is something that you want to solve. Just like I think a lot of the founders here, they have something in mind that they want to solve, which is why they founded their companies. Yeah. So if there's a strong reason for you to go into tech because you want to solve something, then I am sure you will find a way. Yeah.
Thank you, speakers, for the wonderful discussion. Before we end, I'd like to invite our panelists and attendees for a group photo. Attendees, if you are comfortable in turning on your cameras, please do so. Thank you.
Yes, anybody else wants to switch on their camera? I'm about to take the picture now. Cool, I see a lot of people. Thank you, thank you. All right, then we can take the picture in 3, 2, 1. Cute. Okay, one more. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. I want to thank all the attendees for coming, and we would like to personally thank the speakers as well. So if you guys have 5 minutes to spare, that would be great. For everyone else, again, thank you so much for taking your time to join, and we hope to catch you at the next Fireside Chat. All right. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for taking your time out of your really, really busy schedules to join us for the fireside chat today. And I honestly look forward to maybe some future interactions with DSC and us again. Other than that, I have nothing to share. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you for your time. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Good
much, you guys.
night.
Great job. That was
Thanks for
really great.
inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, guys, so how did you find the fireside chat, Karan and Satvik, your first time? Oh, I
Yes.
should stop recording.